Good morning, Saturday morning. And today we talk about that part of the Lord's Prayer that says, Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So this follows right after Thy kingdom come, and we're talking about God ruling over us. And so now we're praying that God's will be accomplished, that it'll be done on earth the way it is in heaven. That is, perfectly and without question and without hesitation. Is that the way that we live? No, it's not. Could that be the way that we live? Possibly. We could strive for that. We could put that before us as our goal and always seek to attain it. To do God's will is to live according to the teachings of Jesus, to love our enemies, to take care of those who are less fortunate, as we like to say, or just simply the poor, to make sure that everybody has food and clothing and shelter and clean water and all those things. Those are good things to do. We should be about those things. It's difficult in the world that we've constructed to live that way, but that's the way that I think Jesus calls us to live. And that's the way that the prayer calls us to live, to do that here on earth. But surely it will be done that way in heaven. And so earth and heaven are seen at the same time. They're kind of as different, but they're also sort of merged. We want to live our earthly lives as though this were heaven. And so, they're together at the same time that we're recognizing that they're very different. And so it's difficult to live. And Martin Luther had this notion that Christians live in two kingdoms at once, the kingdom of God and the kingdom of earth, the kingdom of man. And he said, you give alms to people who are in need. That's a good thing for a Christian to do, but it's a terrible thing for a banker to do, for instance, he said. And so he found ways to at once say we're going to obey, and yet in certain situations we're not going to obey, and that's okay. And I think that gets, frankly, very confusing at times. But he's trying to deal with this paradox that we're living in the kingdom of God and in the earthly kingdom at the same time, and they're different. So how do we do that? And that's one of the things that the prayer calls us to strive for, to think about. Thy will be done. That's a difficult prayer to pray, actually, if you think about it, because it commits us to doing things that we probably would rather just ignore. So you've got that. If we're going to do those things, though, let's be about them and let's get them done. We'll see you in worship tomorrow, and then Monday we'll continue. Have a good weekend.